Hello, people of the internet. We are back. I'm American McGee.
Yo,
Oh God,
I'm
that
Martin.
that should make it crash. All right, so we're actually going to throw away the recording that we just did of the failed attempt to start.
Is that even working?
But if you've been hanging out there on Twitch, thank you for your patience. We appreciate that. We are back now.
We
think, and
let us know in the chat if we're buffering or if it's terrible.
So a quick rundown for those of you watching this on YouTube. We had a misstart here. It took us about 15 minutes to get it sorted out. We hope it's sorted out now. This is going to be another one of our usual live streams. We're going to talk about updates on Alice Asylum, on Oz. We've got some Plushie terrible stuff to look at. Plushie terribles, that's what we call them.
Got umbrellas to give
We have
away.
an umbrella to give away here.
Apparently, we can't open it. It was bad luck.
That's what
did it last time.
I was going to say. Let's not open that umbrella. So yeah, we've got umbrellas to give away, and I think that's about it. There's a bunch of new art, but why don't we start off by playing a little bit of Alice Madness Returns.
I'm just suspiciously eyeing the chat for people who are saying lag and buffering. But it's the scale on that is messed up.
Why don't we keep an eye on this? This actually shows how many frames have dropped. So if that isn't doing anything negative, then we can assume that we're okay. All right. Don't look at glass wires so much. Just look at the dropped frames that are going on there. Anyway, yeah, that was a bit crap.
It was a bad one.
I had to keep talking because we were recording, and so I did a whole spiel about why the Great Firewall even exists, and I was trying to explain to people that it's not for all the reasons that you generally think it's for. But I don't think I need to go back into all of that.
It's a rant you will now never see.
That's true. People will never see that because we're not going to upload it. Now, where are we?
Where were we? I remember some platforming.
Why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody.
I know I see a bunch of names.
Octo Chicken, Silver Jinx, Arthur Zero. Tom Resnick, who's doing our Out of the Woods video. Jennifer's here. Patient 322. See you next Tuesday. The gang's all here, but can I see any new ones? That was this Savo 12345. Pigeon Follower. Maybe that one I remember. Old Haunts.
Old Haunt. All right.
Anonymouse 75, I think I remember. Yeah, hello to one and all.
Well, I'm glad we got everybody back. It's never fun dealing with VPN crash internet issues, and I know that that's incredibly boring for the people who are watching at home. Nobody wants to see that. So appreciate everybody being patient while we sorted that out.
Yeah. Where is the VPN now? I don't know. It's something called China Supercharged. Could be anywhere.
I think it's pointing to the US.
Probably.
Yeah, it's pointing to the US, but it's labeled something like China Supercharged VIP. What we use is Astral, and Astral provides a number of different servers you can connect to around the world. And it's usually pretty stable. I don't believe that today's problems were primarily about the VPN. I think it's because this machine desperately wants to do an update.
It was acting a little odd before we went live.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, Astral, pretty good VPN.
It is. We should do an ad for Astral.
We should.
Everybody else seems to do ads for VPNs, but we're the only ones that I know of that are streaming on YouTube who actually desperately need their VPN to function.
Should reach out to them.
Well, but then that wouldn't be a very good ad for them because come on, get over there. Because we often show their VPN not working very well. But you're right. You reach out to them.
Yes, Tom, I did see it, but only very briefly. I didn't have a chance to absorb the image that you sent. I can have a better look later. Yes, it came through. Thank you. Yeah, what was I going to say? We used many VPNs in our years here. I always used to try and find the small, quirky one that hopefully flew under the radar.
That doesn't work
They
anymore.
all died eventually.
It doesn't work anymore. In fact, the most stable thing we've ever used was the one that was sort of like a semi-official one that supposedly was licensed by the Chinese government for use. But that one was costing us several $1,000s per year.
And it wasn't even that fast.
Well, that was the thing. It wasn't fast at all.
You could barely do 720p streaming.
Yeah, which doesn't work for Twitch at all. Now, the one thing that's good about that one was that it was incredibly stable. You could argue that it was the most stable thing we ever used, right? But we couldn't afford it. The bill would come due and it would be like, Jesus, that's a month's salary, you know. So tough to justify. When what we get is probably 99% of the time, Astral actually does do the trick.
Yeah, Astral is very awesome.
You know, I want to say, and I know I've said it before, maybe it's just me, but I really hate the lock-on mechanism in this game.
I don't think you've ever mentioned it.
Oh, yeah.
This is news to me.
Yeah, it's not my favorite because it's confusing compared to all the other games I play, right? It's a toggle, and I always forget that it's a toggle when I start playing again. And I always have to remind myself, and it's just not my favorite thing in the world. So, anyway.
How's the volume? I saw somebody say the game might be too loud.
It feels loud to me.
Does it?
Yep, sure does.
Somebody said it in chat, but nobody else did.
Well, it's hard when only one person says it, but I would say that in my little ear here, it feels a little bit loud. Don't touch knees with me, Martin. That's my knee. You just touched man's skin to man's skin. I'm not interested
It's actually
in
my
that.
shorts, so you're safe.
No, it's still disgusting.
Don't get too aroused.
No, don't do things under the table like that. We're not on that kind of a live stream, Martin. We need to change to adult Twitch if that's what you want to get into.
Twitch nights.
Exactly. And Twitch. Pants Twitch. Oh, come on. Are you effing...
Desert Phoenix is gifting stuff.
I wish Desert Phoenix would gift me some Get Good, because I could really use it right about now.
All right.
It was that under-the-table knee touch. It freaked me out, and it distracted me, and I let myself get murdered as a result.
Blame the knee.
I do. Absolutely blame the knee.
Hey, woo, Desert Phoenix.
Thanks, Desert Phoenix.
Whatever that did, thank you.
Very much appreciated. So we were going to mention really quickly. I don't know if anybody's noticed. Probably not. It would be narcissistic of me to believe that anybody did notice this. But I have not been as active on Twitch or Facebook of late. And I was going to mention to people who follow me on those platforms that I've actually removed both of those things from my phone out of concern for my mental health. And I'm not going to be using them except mainly for marketing stuff going forward. You don't really use those on your phone, do you?
The only thing I use is Instagram, and I don't even use it. I just use it to check on like what you're posting and like cosplayers for the stuff that we post. I don't do Twitter unless I need to reach out to a company with customer support.
Right.
I don't open news sites. I don't even have a Facebook account. I mean, I've got one for work, but it's not me per se. Yeah, I am very offline compared to most people, I guess.
Well, I was, I have to admit, a little embarrassed because I prided myself on not getting too caught up in this kind of stuff, but I managed to get myself caught up in a lot of reading the news and kind of following pundits, talking about the elections and stuff like that. And where's the God F? Damn it! I'm not a fan of this. I'm not even playing on hard.
Should we play something else?
No, I want to get through this damn game. I just don't like the lock-on mechanism. I'm not a fan of flying enemies.
I'm sure somebody did a mod that changed the lock-on mechanism.
I think that the combination of ground-based and flying enemies with this disappearing thing, it's just... Look, I get that it's a challenge. I understand it. I understand, you look at it from a design perspective and you go, okay, we got to ramp up the challenge for the player in this zone, but I don't feel that this is challenging me on a sort of rational, adjust your gameplay style kind of basis. This is just, let's throw a bunch of what are crappy by themselves, or not crappy, they're unique by themselves enemies. Let's throw them together, and because they've got these sort of competing attack styles, let's throw them together, and it'll make dealing with this scene, bothersome, right? It just doesn't feel to me like fucking. All right, now I'm not going to be able to upload this to YouTube without some sort of warning for the,
Come on,
the
man.
kiddies.
Get good.
I'm trying, it's not. Anyway, I mean, the reality is I only play games now when we're streaming, right? So I'm not very good anymore. So I guess maybe people will excuse me for that.
Maybe.
No excuse.
I recently platinumed Ghost of Tsushima. I'm done.
Wow.
Everything is done. And I was going to leave it there. I thought there's nothing much now. Is this the end of the PS4 for me? Am I just waiting now? But then Cuphead got released on PS4.
Really? Wow.
Finally.
That's famously difficult too.
Yeah, and I've always thought that the art style of that, like the 1930s cartoon style, I just thought it was a really fantastic idea. And I liked the idea of the game, so yeah, downloaded it. It's pretty cheap, 15 quid. It is pretty, it's pretty tough.
Okay, I finally got rid of that guy. Woo!
Yeah, some of them not so tough, but some of them it was literally, I'm like, am I just never going to finish this boss now?
So
Can it be done?
I see Silent Dream says this was one of my least favorite areas in the game. I can see why. To be fair, this is the worst part of the game. All right, well, I'm glad to hear that I'm not alone in that.
It's
because
not just you.
Look, I like a challenge, but I like a challenge where it's a sort of rational extension of some of the things you've learned previously, put together in a way where you can succeed, sort of based on the use of those things, right? If that makes sense. This to me feels like a hodgepodge. Like, hey, we've got a flying enemy. Those are really hard. Now look what's happening. I'm getting absorbed into the darkness here.
Oh no.
Oh man. Well, I think I'm about to die because I can't even see the frickin' dar.
You've got to be able to see the dar.
That was poop. Dar.
So yeah, lots of people don't like this level, but also lots of people do like Cuphead, even though it's quite the challenge. Nearly done. Well, not nearly done. I'm in the last zone. I've got a couple more bosses to do, and then end boss. So, yeah.
Okay, so the problem here is you've got to stay in the light, otherwise you start taking damage. So that means that those health boxes are placed there are just a big FU, actually.
You can absorb a bit of health, just don't stay too long.
Well, it doesn't appear that way, though, does it? It looks like if you stick around there too long, you're just hosed.
Exactly, just stay in, get a couple of hearts, and then F off.
You F off! Oh no, why did I do that? Why do you have to tell me to press X in the middle of something that's trying to eat me?
Ooh.
Man, come on. Anyway, I shouldn't complain about the difficulty of the game, or the kids just won't think I'm cool anymore. Yeah, so I disconnected all of my Twitter, Facebook stuff from my phone, and I have to say I feel much better psychologically, much healthier for not waking up and checking Twitter, checking Facebook, checking all this stuff. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the news cycle in the US especially has become so toxic. It's just this constant stream of negativity, and that's what finally got me. Is, I woke up, I turned on my YouTube morning news stream, and it was just like, okay, things are just not pleasant.
Do you
Things
think
are on fire. People are dying,
Do you think there is like room in the world for like a YouTube channel or a Twitch stream or anything, which is just people reporting on happy news.
Well, this has been tried.
Has it?
And it never really succeeds,
Like,
right?
Here's a giant home for abandoned kittens that just got set up, and cancer's being cured, and
Yeah, the problem is that it doesn't work, because a lot of times you've got that set alongside the more traditional news in a sidebar. You know, it's like just now I went over there to post up the marketing about the fact that we were going to go live, and you said don't look at Twitter, and you know you can't help it because it's just sat right there like negative news right in the sidebar. So I just okay, yeah, can't even look. Can't even look at it.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, it's not great. Anyway, I find it interesting also that here we have the Shanghai daily newspaper, and they have a rule that they basically only report positive news. I mean, the newspaper is called Shine, right? So you assume if it's going to shine, it's going to be something kind of bright and happy, you know. Where are these little slugs coming from? Because I feel like the reason I'm the reason I'm getting slugged to death has to do with something generating them. Is that right? I seem to recall that. Where's that stupid sailor guy? Come on, stupid sailor guy. Anyway, Shine only reports positive stuff. And so I read that in the morning, and it's a pretty happy thing. What am I missing here? Clearly I'm missing something. Does this just go on forever with slugs and...
I don't know if people in the chat were telling me about different channels and stuff that report on good news and happy animal stories and whatever. So there is goodness out there, but apparently it either doesn't work for very long or it gets bought out or something.
Well, now that Facebook and Twitter are uninstalled, I'm going to go back and focus on Audible, you know, and just listen to books. And then I'm not listening to like crap books about horrible things going on in the world. I'm listening to positive books, which are about personal development, about, you know, writing, about storytelling, stuff like that. So can you ask the chat if I'm sort of missing some key thing here with regards to overcoming this? Is it just a slog? That's what I want to know.
Well, I don't think I have to ask. I think they heard you. Let's check.
No, well, you have to read what they say because you're not very good at that, it turns out. You just kind of sit there and blabble on, and then I don't get the feedback that I need, you know.
Great.
So how am I gonna defeat this level if you don't read the comments, Martin?
Asclepios says kill the sailor and the slugs will disappear.
I'm trying to kill the frickin' sailor.
Well, kill him more betterer.
Ah, man. He's not easy to kill. Let me just say that. Like, he's really not easy to kill.
Sailors are traditionally quite tough. Get him! Smash his face in!
Get him! I'm trying!
Murder the shit out of him. Yeah! Do that some more.
I'm trying. I'm trying to do all the things. Oh man, I missed a beautiful opportunity to something on him. Wail on him.
Pepper the bombs and run in with Hobby.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. But
Alright.
it's just not doing the job fast enough.
Are you blaming the controls again?
I'm blaming you. Did you notice I just changed my strategy on blame?
The stream is pooping.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's
Really?
coming.
Get over there! Oh, come on. Has it died?
It hasn't totally died.
Martin, are you looking at the stream statistics at
I'm
the
looking
bottom
at both.
of OBS? Okay.
I'm looking at three things, actually. I'm looking at stats, chat, and Glasswire.
And everybody's saying the same thing, huh?
Yeah. They're pressing F to pay their respects.
Well, people...
It's not totally dead. Let's keep going.
I'm still going. I'm dead. I'm dead.
Oh,
You know-
somebody earlier did say, if you're dead, you can't die. So...
So,
We're back!
I would imagine that if I was playing this game as a retail consumer and I got to this section, I would not be as crappy as I am. That's what I'm gonna say. I think I'm pretty terrible at my own game, but I think we've known that for a long time.
Shall we do a giveaway? Because I mean, it's
well, I don't know what time you're gonna have to look at that. It's only 20 minutes into the stream, so I know you want to get away from this as much as I do, and I can understand why.
Well, let's give you one more go. Let's see if you can get past it.
All right, we're trying.
Yeah, it should be back. Things are looking better. Dropped frames is reducing. Glasswire looks healthy. Yeah. No. Touch wood.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah. So is this like the end of this particular zone? Is this like an end of level boss? Or is there more past this?
I don't know, and I almost don't care. I want to be done with this stupid guy. I find that the combination of a sort of like hidden enemy and these slugs, and I mean, it just, come on, it's not fun. That's all I'm going to say about this. This is just not fun. And I think when you build mechanics that in general are not fun, not a good thing. So.
I think you're going to do it this time.
I don't know, man. It's
Get him!
He really takes quite a lot of that sort of damage and just keeps on going. And then, see, I want to lock onto him, but you get the lock-on gets stolen by all the crap in the scene.
Apparently, once you get the rhythm down, the payoff will feel better.
Well,
so says Tom.
Sure. I mean, finishing this would make anybody feel. I just don't know that. Anyway, I'm gonna stop. Just everybody knows I'm not a fan of this.
Get him! He's dead.
Super die! Die more! Oh, man.
Told you. What did I say? Said you'd do it.
Look, she even says, do angels have this much trouble? She knows this is too much trouble.
Look, more.
Yay.
I hope there's
Here, we'll reward you for your success by putting you through more darkness platforming, maybe fall to your death and have to start all over business.
There's
Great.
probably another area just past this with twice as many sailors and slugs.
Oh man, I can't even see what I'm jumping into.
You
right
went
now.
too far.
And I went too far in front of the stupid floating. Okay, come on, stupid floating light thing. I'm dying here.
Quickly.
Hurry up. Come on, this is a terrible way for me to die. Thank you.
Oof.
Oh boy. Man, oh man. What is going on here? Yeah, but I am curious to know if other people in the chat have had a similar experience with social media of late, or it's just me. Because I kind of gradually gave up on it. It was Facebook first, and it had a lot to do with the fact that so many people on Facebook were so angry all the time. And that you couldn't seem to have a conversation anymore. And then Twitter got me, and now YouTube, I'm done with YouTube for a while. And I just think I'm going to stay off of all that crap until maybe once the election is over, it'll get better. I don't know.
Maybe.
But your rule is just you don't really read the news anyway.
Yeah, don't read it. Don't care.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I know that there's a couple of quotes out there along the same lines of, the least informed person is the one who reads the the news the most and stuff like that. And I think it's probably right. Come on.
Yes, well, got some people here. Malgrath never liked social media. Truth Decay gave up on it years ago. This is scrolling past pretty quickly now. Vagabond Dog quit social media 7 years ago.
Wow.
But again, like you say, it's you can't completely escape it. Stuff sneaks in.
Well, we use it for marketing, right? So we end up on, I'd say Instagram isn't terrible because you know, it's like you make your own post, and the worst that you get on Instagram is maybe somebody in the comments on one of your posts being a Karen or whatever. And you know, I think it's funny, like the places where I've seen the most kind of Karen behavior would be on posts about Lucky, because it's a baby, and then people are like, oh my god, don't put snakes in your baby's crib, you know, that's not good. Right, stuff like that.
Really? That's weird.
Well, there's that, and you and I know there's been the occasional sort of kerfuffles over somebody like, you know, kind of credit freakouts, people freaking out that like we didn't credit somebody properly on a cosplay.
Right.
But that's kind of mostly a thing of the past now.
I haven't done that in a while.
But those people are pretty frickin' militant, though.
Yeah, they tend to rile up their fans and get people to dogpile when they feel they've been slighted.
Oh boy, this is taking a while. I can see why this is not people's favorite section of the game. I mean, it's just sort of dark and there's not much going on here. And it's got this
neon platforms. There's loads going on.
It's got this combination of elements that is just not my favorite stuff in the world.
Ooh.
I'm not the biggest fan of invisible Did that
what?
just...
What happened? Did the platform fall away if you stand on it too long?
Yes, exactly. Didn't you see the sign there that said, warning, if you stand on this platform too long, it'll just fall away into the darkness and eat you?
Sorry, I was looking at chat.
Didn't you see that? It was right there. Giant sign warning us not to... Fire!
Vagabond Dog is releasing a game called Karen and Outrage Simulator, apparently.
This is definitely the time for that. I think it's good. That needs to be a thing.
Yeah, I see. Like I said, I try to stay away from social media. But I am subscribed to some of these YouTube channels that read posts from like r/entitled parents.
Yes.
And so I do see Karen stuff quite a lot.
I'm done. I'm not playing that anymore. So
ever again.
Let's give away a prize. We're going to give away a Vorpal Umbrella. You can't. Can I open it, or is it really going to kill the? Okay, so there's a Vorpal Umbrella. It's got the alchemy print on the inside and black on the outside, and it's got a skull for a handle. So anyway, we're going to give away one of those. What's the question, Martin?
Well, let's also say that these are the last umbrellas.
4 of them. So
whatever state it turns up to you in, whether it's scuffed or anything,
accept it.
Tough.
Yes.
Nothing can be done about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my question has absolutely nothing to do with what we've been talking about, but I did think about this a while ago. What do we think about the new Batman?
Fantastic. I love it.
What do you think? What's his name? Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard that, I was like, oh, what? You joking? Is this an April Fool? This dude. Then the trailer dropped, and it's like, wow, look at this guy.
So I tweeted about it. I said that it gave me a goth boner like I'd not had since the last time I saw The Cure in concert when I was like 20 years old.
A goner.
A goner. You know, it reminded me a lot of the vibe from The Crow, and that was a film that I really liked a lot. And the fact that there were people freaking out that Batman has like a ton of eyeshadow stuff going on when he takes the mask off made me happy, because I used to sport lots of eyeliner.
Surely
eyeshadow.
not that much.
Not that much, but, well, it depends, you know, because at the start of the night you put it on and it's all neat and clean and it looks nice. By the time you've been out raving for
you start crying.
Well, you've been out raving and sweating for 2 days straight or 2 nights straight or whatever, you end up looking like that. So I thought, personally, I think the trailer looks fantastic. I like the choice of the people that they've brought on as the actors, and yeah.
Most people seem to like the look of the trailer. Some people don't even know there's a new Batman.
That's what I found. I tweeted about it. People were like, what are you talking about? So yeah, go on YouTube and punch in The Batman.
The Batman.
And it is the new Batman movie. I guess it's a bit of a reboot. Is that right?
It is.
It's him versus the Riddler. and it just looks great. It's like if you smash together The Crow and Seven and Batman, which to me, like if I was a movie executive and you said, right, here's my elevator pitch for the new Batman movie, The Crow plus Seven plus Batman, and I would be like, greenlit,
money,
go make it happen.
I was thinking, obviously it looks very grimdark. Everything's grimdark these days.
Somebody calls him Battison. That's funny.
I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny if the reboot kind of went back to the old, like, Clooney, really, like, garish, was it Joel Schumacher? Just really campy Batman again.
Tim Burton one that was very garish, and somebody on Twitter actually commented that, I liked it when it wasn't so cynical, and this was actually one of the steps to me thinking I really need to get off Twitter, because my immediate response to him saying this looks too cynical, we already live in a dark enough world, was to tell him to get effed. I was like, what's wrong with me? And he also said something along the lines of he liked the Burton version because that Burton managed to find humor in the darkness, and I was like, well, for some of us, darkness is humor. We don't have to find it in there, So anyway, I did not tweet that back to him, but I think it looks fantastic. So
it does. Well, Nightbot, tell us who shall win the umbrella.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, roll it. It's T Savo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Congratulations, T Savo. Savo? How do you say that? Anyway, to Savo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've just won a Vorpal Umbrella. One of the last 4 new ones that we have here in the studio. Do please send us an email to support@mysterious.design. Include your phone number, your address, the one we would mail something to, and the fact that you've won this thing, a Vorpal Umbrella. Make sure to put all that in a format that is easily readable by Martin. Remember that he is special needs, and that if you do anything kind of funky or weird, it'll make him angry, and when he gets angry, well, let's just say it's not good.
You won't like me when I'm angry.
You won't like him when he's angry.
Because I cry, and nobody wants to see a grown man cry.
I do.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. I think after the stream, like a good Ellen-style boss, I'm just going to make you cry.
Somebody was dissing Ellen recently.
Well, she got in all kinds of trouble for being an a-hole, so I don't know.
Lots of people saying that.
I mean, as I watched that, I thought, like, I consider myself an a-hole. I'm not proud of it, but I constantly watch myself, and I think people on the stream pick up on it. I mean, I do feel like you probably think I'm sometimes a little mean to Martin, and I know my personality comes across like that. And so as I was watching what was unfolding with Ellen, I was thinking, okay, well, as somebody who also is concerned about whether or not I'm an a-hole, and then seeing, man, some of the stories you read, though, I mean, like, if I literally genuinely made you cry, or I thought I made you feel bad, I would actually feel bad. She, from what I can tell, does not feel bad. So I don't know. I think there's being an a-hole, and then there's like being an like really being not a good person. And she appears to be on that level of just maybe like if you took my personality type, but you gave me ultimate godlike powers and piles of money, and I might turn into that. Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of scary to think about. Anyway.
Yeah, it was an interesting video to watch. I mean, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. I don't know. I don't know her. But, yeah, she did seem not great. So, yeah, let's all not be Ellen.
I don't know. That's a good idea not to be Ellen. Speaking of not being Ellen, let's look at something cute and makes us laugh.
That's not Ellen.
No. That's Lucky. And he recently got selected to go in for modeling. Uh-oh.
Yep, it's going up.
It's died.
It's not died, it's struggling, but it's not died yet.
But it's only getting 162. It's now at 0.
It'll be fine.
That's it. It's down to 0.
That's what it did last time. It's fine.
Okay. Well, anyway, for those of you watching on YouTube, we're going to continue as if it's fine because Martin says it's fine. So, this is Lucky. This is my boy.
Hi, Lucky.
He's a good boy. And as you can see, he has figured out how to stand up. He can also walk around and run around now. Anyway, he got invited to be a part of a photo shoot for diapers, a Japanese diaper brand. So this was that. That's a much happier thing, you know?
Yeah, so what's the deal? Is he going to be on like billboards or TV? What?
I'm not sure. He might be on the cover of the diaper box. Who knows? But I want to point out it is at 0 kilobytes per second now, the throughput here.
But it's fluctuating. It's not fully dead. We'll keep going for now.
I don't know, dude. It looks pretty dead to me.
I would suggest we keep going for a couple of minutes.
All right. Anyway, so people on YouTube, do smash like, because you know that somehow maybe appeases the great firewall gods.
Maybe.
And Martin has a lot of faith that this is somehow going to come back when I just keep seeing it saying 0 kilobytes per second. So, Martin, I don't think people on Twitch can see us anymore.
You can. Look, he's so cute.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It seems pretty busted to me. It's not doing what we want. I think we're gonna have to switch VPNs.
Go on then.
Sorry, everybody. Switching VPNs. Yep, there we go. Disconnect from China Supercharged 2. You were our friend for a moment there, but not anymore. Let's try Los Angeles Supercharged 2.
That's what we were on at the beginning.
Well, who knows, man? We obviously don't have the magic sauce when it comes to VPN issues today.
Not today.
Somebody says, is anybody else laggy? More than laggy. Stream has disconnected. Attempting to reconnect.
Let's keep going, shall we?
Yes,
for a while. Let's scroll through more things in the art folder.
Okay, we're back, and it's given us a end stream button here, so that seems to think that we're back. Hello. Nightbout, blah blah blah. Nightbout timed out. Okay, we're back. Anyway, where were we? We're gonna start all over now.
Let's start the stream from the beginning again.
No, I'm
Play
not going to
Madness
replay
Returns.
those levels again. All right, where we were was we showed a cute picture of Lucky in some diapers. So yeah, he got invited to do a photo shoot. We don't know where this is going to end up. I think this might have just been like a tryout or something like that. So anyway, Lucky, he's cute. He's actually walking and running around now. You can see he's standing on his own. He's a very good little boy, and we are only 1 week away from his. Yeah, it's less than a week until his first birthday.
That's mental.
That's crazy, right?
I can't believe it's been that fast.
It has been only a year. It has been a year. Other stuff going on. We've got our Plushie Terribles in design and
Plushie
production.
Dreadfuls.
Sorry. Plushie Dreadfuls in design. These are going to get released mid-September. So I know Yen has been following up on this. She's got bags that she's working on that these are going to go into. So if you're interested in these things, you can go over. There's like a little sign-up jigger on Mysterious.
We could do a shameless Patreon plug about that.
Oh yeah, they were asking that we make it a thing, like a Patreon reward. How's that going to work?
It's going to work how we said it's going to work. So, what month are we on now? It's August, so if you join Patreon before October, but not yet, do this in September, then when you are charged in October at the $75 level, you will get the art print of that month, which is The Watcher. I don't think we have that in the current folder. And you'll get the Rabbit plushie as well. Both things for being at the correct level for that month.
2 things for 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. But those things will also be on Mysterious. So if you want,
they will.
If you want those things, you can get them at Mysterious. Now, Jen was doing various designs to go along with the bags. So this was like a peeled banana. She had some sort of funny. What was it? Was it that the banana said, "I'll split you"? No, "I'll peel you." I can't remember what it was. But anyway, the banana had a funny quote. I think Jen's probably in the.
Where are you? You were in chat. Are you still there?
Yeah,
there. Y'all better split.
Y'all better split. That's what it was, which I thought was hilarious. Now, Yin is acting as the fashion director, designer for this collection, and she wanted the bag to kind of better mirror what it was that was in the bag. So, like, yeah, this bag was going to contain the monkey plush. So Yen wants the bag to have the monkey on it, not the bananas. Anyway, who knows? So more of that stuff is coming. If you're interested in the updates on that, we do post them over on Patreon and on Instagram and stuff like that. So expect plushes, more plushes arriving soon, and then also connected to Patreon. And anyway, I'm really looking forward to the bare-fisted bear, and that's supposed to be arriving. The sample for that should arrive like in the next week or two.
Can't wait.
Now, Omri has finished up these chess pieces. These are for Depression / the chess realm. So we had presented some of these previously, but he's just been going through and kind of cleaning them up and finalizing them. So this is meant to show the integration of the chaos with the chess pieces, because their realm is sort of living in a symbiosis with the chess pieces.
I don't like that big eye one. It's creeping me out.
This one?
Yeah.
Why not?
Scary.
Well, then we should do more of that. Because they're meant to be a little scary. This guy's scary with his red eyes.
He's fine.
But the art team are working on a collection of images related to the chess realm. And I'm just scrolling through them here to try to find them.
Went the wrong way again.
Yeah, I always go the wrong way. Oh, nope. Better yet, I may not even have them. Anyway, here it is. So this was a bit that Joey did for kind of an entrance area to one of the zones. And then I think Omri went in and tentacled it up, right? So the version she did was relatively clean, very architectural. He went in there and added these sort of glowing chess pieces in the sky and the tentacles that are taking over the building. So this stuff's turning out really good. That's the zone that we're currently focused on for story and art for Asylum. And now myself and Alex owe the team a little bit of writing with regards to the chess realm to help the artists move forward, because they obviously can't create unless we give them story. But there's been so much other stuff going on in the background recently around Alice and around Oz and around plushes and around just keeping the business, sort of various pieces of the business going, that we haven't had as much time to write on the story as we'd like. Alex also just recently moved house. But one of the things that's been sucking up a lot of our time is this. This is the live action drama series pitch for Alice Asylum. Now, we got asked to put this together by the current owners, controllers of the Alice linear media rights. That is to say, the Alice rights are actually split in two. The interactive stuff is owned and controlled by EA. The linear media, which would be film, television, and lit, books, that stuff is controlled by a separate group. Now, they let me know that September in the US is the kind of traditional period in which you would go and pitch television series to HBO, Hulu, Netflix. Who else does them? I don't know. BBC,
CBS.
That's not a thing. CBS.
CBS. They do all the Star Trek stuff now.
CBS. There you go. Well, anyway, if I put this material in their hands, I think they're able to go off and pitch what it is that the Alice series could be if it was imagined as a TV series. Now, we had previously done this and put it in front of Netflix, but I kind of knew when we did the one before, we sort of rushed it and we made it very art heavy, and it didn't do a lot of work around the actual story that you would find contained in a TV series. If you were like a TV series producer and you looked at it, I don't think you would have got all the pieces out of it that would have been necessary for someone to understand what the story is, what the TV series could be. So I did post this up over on Patreon as well. If you want to download the PDF, it's in, I think, the most recent Patreon post.
Yeah.
The full PDF. Now, keeping in mind that this PDF is still a work in progress, some elements are borrowed from what we did for the Netflix presentation. So, like, the cover page is borrowed from there. This kind of high concept, jailbreak from a mental prison page is borrowed from there. But beyond that, what I did is I went through this and I tried to imagine that the TV producer who's reading this has never heard of our series, has never heard of the Alice stories. Hey, what the hell? Why is Omri putting some weird... What is that? a weird A necklace on her.
Huh.
Huh, is right. Anyway, how should this read if you don't know what the Alice series is and what it's about and who's in it? So that was the reworking on this. So we've got a page here which basically explains that this story will work for people who've both never been introduced to the Alice franchise and who are longtime fans, or maybe you only played Madness Returns and you didn't play the original. Anyway, what we're doing with Asylum is this funny kind of inner child time travel trick, right? So the inner child can relay the story of early Alice, and adult Alice in her way can also get us through some of the adult Alice, like Alice AMA and AMR story bits, so that as a series you would be able to watch all of it, and then it would also have the little girl as the hero, but it could end the whole series with the adult Alice having resolved all her problems. Anyway, that little bit of text there is supposed to describe that.
All right. Now, when's this going out?
Well, it's
to the relevant peeps.
We got to finish it up. I asked for feedback from those guys yesterday, so I'm now waiting for a response from them as to what they think might need to be added or improved to this. And as of this morning, they had not written back, but I imagine that's probably because they're still making notes and trying to kind of get their head around it.
Maybe.
Yeah. If you could, please keep an eye on the comments over there. If anybody's got anything interesting to be said, because I can't see that far.
Lucky Dragon says, try Hulu to get that Disney money. They do have infinite money, it seems. Jay's Black is asking, if we did multiple media, would it all be canon?
Well, that's an interesting question, because we could pitch this, and the guys who own these rights could presumably run off and put different writers on the project, not include me in a way where I would have much control. That writer or writing team could then go and push the story in directions that I wouldn't or you wouldn't consider to be compatible with where we think canon lives. And we wouldn't necessarily have control over that. That is one of the dangers of working with Hollywood, or with working where, you know, let's say you're Stephen King and you've written The Shining, but then it's sold as a package to a TV network and they do a new adaptation of it, and then in the adaptation there's certain elements that are shifted and changed. You know, is that still canon? I mean, at that point the author could come out and say, George R.R. Martin, don't consider the things that happen in the HBO series to be canon because I've written the book and it diverges here. And then the fans can fight over stuff like that. And guess what? They do. Hard to say.
I mean, I don't know how this works. I mean, you've got experience of it, but I just imagine a room with like producers and stuff in it, just like spitballing ideas. It's like, yeah, what if in this scene Alice discovered she could fly? And everyone is like, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Sure. Now I see, for some reason I'm having a difficult time seeing to that side of the screen today. My contacts are blurry or something, but
getting old.
I do know that somebody's mentioned animation, and I've seen this come up quite a lot. So Pigeon Follower, because I think it would work much better as an animated thing. Look, the front of this presentation says live action. I don't care if it ends up being animated or live action. And really, as I said to one of the comments over on Patreon, I think the phrase beggars can't be choosers, right? We are not in a position to go out and dictate to somebody this should be animated or you should use this actress or none of that, because the amount of control I have over this is relatively limited. Plus, the role assigned to me according to the rights deals that were done years ago is I'm like an associate producer or something like that on the film, TV, literature side. And unless I was able to somehow wrestle more control, which I'm not sure exactly how I would do that. Usually you do that by bringing financing, but if I'm not the one bringing the financing, my control would be limited. Anyway, for everyone saying, go this way, do that, make it animated, don't make it animated, I don't really have a lot of control over that. But what I can do is put these presentations together and try to outline why the thing might be awesome, and then try to attract money and try to attract somebody who's going to help us get it made, knowing that depending on the way in which it gets made or where it gets made, I may not have a lot of control over it. It really depends on many factors. So we have to wait and see. Like many
so basically, it might not be canon.
It might not be canon. It might not be live action. It might not ever even happen. I mean, this is the main thing. Is like we're pitching these things like so many people do. I don't know how many of you have ever been or lived in Hollywood, but anytime you go down to any local Starbucks in anywhere around the vicinity of Hollywood, you'll see that almost every table or comfortable space where you can set up with a laptop has got someone sat there typing furiously into a laptop. Why? Because you've got a ton of people who would like to be writers and producers and directors all sat around furiously generating concepts and pitch documents in an attempt to get something in front of someone who can get it set up and make it happen. The thing is, until you've sold multiple projects and gained some degree of bankability, sort of a reliability for your ideas to generate money, you are at the mercy of what the market is willing to allow you to do and say and make. And oftentimes it's said that you might make first 5 or 10 projects that you do in Hollywood where you have very little control, and it really takes like a big hit for you to suddenly wrest control away from the projects that you envision, and end up like somebody like think like Christopher Nolan, right? That guy can come up with a concept, write it, direct it. It can be completely far-fetched and out there, and he's got total control of everything in his domain. We're not there yet.
Not yet.
No.
Yeah, there's lots of people giving the thumbs up to an animated Alice, saying anime style would be great, but again, like you just said, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
But what this document, again, is attempting to do, within the framework of what we're able to do, which is to just simply go out and try to pitch our version of the story, of the characters, of the art style, it's attempting here to say, who are the characters, what is the world, and what is the primary drama? Like, what are the stakes? What happens in this story? Now, if you don't know it already, there is a major spoiler in here. And
spoilers ahead.
It may be on one of the pages that are coming up here. So don't look too closely at the text if you don't want to know the major spoiler that we've been discussing for the start of the story. And it's pretty serious, and it's created a lot of comments and feedback over on Patreon. For those of you who are watching who are insane children, I know like Lucky Dragon, for example, or Greg, Octo Chicken have written quite extensively on their thoughts about that particular narrative twist. I want everybody to know that's still very much kind of work in progress, and I have read a lot of your comments, and I am sensitive to a lot of the issues that you've brought up. I do need to sit down and rework through that and then provide a proper response to everyone. Just understand one of the reasons why I had to come up with that particular twist is because it is something that's necessary to establish the stakes and communicate it clearly in a pitch like this for Netflix, because it was one of the things that was missing in the previous pitch, and it was something that I got feedback about from people who read that pitch. It was like, well, what's going on here? Like, what's the stakes? And it wasn't enough, was what I was told. It wasn't enough that she might just go mad. These types of stories have to involve not just the potential death of the character, but even better would be the potential death of the whole world or of the universe, right? So we really had to raise the stakes a bit. Whether or not it stays in the format that was described in the posts that I made about this topic over on Patreon, I don't know exactly yet. But anyway, I will read through, reread through all those comments, and I will try to craft a response to that stuff, and then we'll see, kind of how that forms out, if that makes sense. It's tough to talk about it because I don't want to do the spoiler thing and then have people who don't know what I'm talking about be upset by having that suddenly thrown upon them.
We should have a little like spoiler icon that we can display. We'll just have it hidden, then we can display it so people can visually see when we are and aren't talking spoilers.
Right.
Maybe. An idea.
Yeah, maybe. I was thinking we could use the YouTube chapters thing also to kind of... But I haven't said the thing that's the spoiler. I'm just saying that if you're going to go read this PDF, be aware that one of those critical spoilers is in there. So you'll want to be careful how much of this you read. Maybe have someone who's read the spoilers read it first and then tell you what page to avoid. But as I said, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a breakdown of the characters, the setting, and the story with sort of the stakes. What is the battle? Who's the battle against? Things like that. So if you're interested, go have a look. Please leave some comments over on Patreon. I do read those, and I can get into, I can take your feedback and try to put that into this and craft it a bit. Now, one of the things I was told for making pitches to Hulu and Netflix and stuff like that by some TV producer, film producer friends of mine was to make sure that there's a page about me as a creator and why this story is important to me, because it turns out that these companies not only like to promote the show, but they like to promote the creators, especially when there's some sort of deep personal connection between the material and the creator. So that's going to be something we're going to add here. I've not yet written that section just yet because I'm always a little weird about writing stuff about myself. But anyway.
See, I'm great.
Maybe
this is my idea.
Maybe Lucky Dragon or Greg could write that about me.
Maybe.
Great. So anyway, that's that presentation. I just wanted everybody to know that's getting worked on in the background on Asylum at the same time that the chess world stuff is getting worked on, and the same time that we just lose the stream over there. No. And the same time that we're working on all these other bits and pieces. Now, there are sort of just mechanical elements getting worked on. So like Norm has done a whole series of animated frames showing Alice's movements through the world.
Yeah.
It's very Prince of Persia.
The noises.
That would have been Joey's job to put those in there. We should get Joey to go in and do them later on.
Should do.
These remind me quite a bit, though, of the motion studies that were done for Prince of Persia. Mm-hmm. The early Prince of Persia games were quite notable for how fluid and lifelike their action animations were. And so I like seeing this kind of stuff because it really gives you a good sense of the weight of the character and how she would move.
Was Prince of Persia the first rotoscoped game? Is that like its claim to fame or something for the smooth animation?
Well, no, it couldn't be the first rotoscoped game because, like, when I was working on Doom, the original Doom, we rotoscoped the characters. There were maquettes that were like foam models painted that looked exactly like the imps and the mastermind spider demon thing. And so no, I don't think that Prince of Persia could claim to be in the first rotoscoped game because I know for a fact that Doom was rotoscoped.
All right.
Yeah. So what else is going on? Is it time for another prize? It is.
Yeah, we're just about there.
All right. Well, let's do prize. We know what we're giving away. We're giving away a lag-inducing umbrella. Don't open it.
Lag. Come to me.
Martin, you're literally going to kill the internet with that thing. All right. What is the question for today?
What's that going to do to the bit rate?
It's going to make you look like a girl. Umbrella twirling girl. So, do we have a question?
Not really. I was thinking earlier when there was all that talk about Netflix and whatever. We've asked this before, but many moons ago, we even did a poll about it in a survey. Your choice for adult Alice actress?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that. I thought you were going to ask which network people would prefer to see.
I thought of that too, but decided not to.
I could answer that one, but I can't answer the other one.
Yeah, we did that a while ago, didn't we? Omri did a fair few very excellent pictures of different actresses. And was that back at the old house?
Not sure.
It was.
So the question for the prize now, that we're going to give away another one of these umbrellas. So in the chat, so that Nightbot sees you, let us know who you would choose to play. Look, it could be adult or child Alice. Let's say that Netflix or HBO or someone picks up the show. What actress do you have in mind for that character?
Lots of actress names here that I don't know, but I did see our favourite Emma Watson.
Yeah, so it's the problem with me on a question like this is that a bunch of names are going to scroll by that I just don't know.
Zendaya. I like her. I'm not sure for Alice.
I don't know, but we live in this weird bubble over here where we are not exposed to the daily kind of stream of promotion of new actors, actresses, music, films. I just barely know what the hell's going on in the Western world anymore.
Yeah, it's back.
Mark Hamill
for Alice.
Well, I think he would be good. Yeah, I think
Haley
he would be
Atwell.
an excellent Alice. Maybe we could have a scene with Alice, getting milk from like the teat of a large space cow.
A Wonderland cow.
The caterpillar. I guess that would make sense. Mark Hamill as Alice getting caterpillar milk.
Caterpillar juice.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Ah, boy.
Should we roll it?
I think we're going to roll it because I want to get off this topic. All right, we have Ensenado Azul. Congratulations, Ensenado Azul. You have won a lag-inducing Vorpal Umbrella. So you do need to send an email to support@mysterious.design. Include your name, your address, your phone number. Do also mention the fact that you won an umbrella because it makes things easier for us, and do all of that in a human-readable, non-frustration inducing format.
Please.
Otherwise, we're not going to send you the thing. And one other thing, do that within 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's
also
right.
to Svalo12345. Did you say that? Within
I didn't,
24 hours?
I forgot that part last time.
Yeah.
So
Don't email us in 3 weeks telling us you won.
No. It's kind of interesting. I shouldn't even mention this, but we still get people that are writing and saying that they didn't get some sort of Patreon reward from over a year ago. And not that they've been telling us for a year that it didn't come in. It's like they suddenly wake up one morning and go, "Oh, a year ago I should have got that thing." And I just want everybody to know that doesn't usually work out very well for everybody involved. So it's best if you follow up with us on things like that as quickly as you can. If you order something from us or you expect something from us, don't wait 12 months before popping up and being like, "Hey, I never got my thing." Because by the time you do that, sometimes we don't have any more of those things left.
We don't have any of the things left, and also it's a bit awkward trying to find this information because the shipping site we use archives data quite frequently, so we have to annoy them to dig into the archives and, "Hey, did we send this person a thing?"
Yeah, so do it a little sooner. Now, other stuff that we're working on these days. As many of you know, there is work being done on Wizard of Oz. Now, I did post this up over on Patreon, I think since the last stream as well, right? Is the story draft. Yeah. So if you head over to Patreon, these posts are all unlocked because all of our posts unlock after 3 days. So if you go over there, you will find that there's a post called Lost Ozland Story Draft Concept 1 version 0.2. I don't know what all those numbers mean. I did type them, but it seems kind of... Anyway, what we have done is myself and Alex put together... It's meant to be the backstory for a pitch, which was requested by our financial advisor. So when he goes to try to secure money for a new studio, he's told us that, hey, you need to have more than one thing on the table because it'll help improve the chances that the conversation is more than just we don't like that idea, and then the whole thing ends, right? He said it also shows that the studio has depth. around their creative abilities, and so we're responding to his request by putting together a quick pitch document based on the Wizard of Oz. Now, why Oz? Because I asked the question a while back, what would everyone like to see us work on? And there was a huge amount of positive response around the idea of doing an Oz.
It is. Oz gets a lot of love when that question is asked. It is by far the most popular thing.
It is. Now, we're probably going to do 2 variations on the Oz story. One is the one that's over on Patreon. That's sort of like an amalgam of Westworld meets Jurassic Park meets Wizard of Oz. By the way, I don't know if that's like the best story in the world. I don't know that that's really the story I want to tell. A lot of times when you're given the task of, hey, build a pitch document, make it about this topic, and do it quick. We had a lot of brainstorming and a lot of ideas. We picked that because, Alex and I riffed and we talked a bit, and it just kind of formed, and it felt relatively straightforward. That doesn't mean it's the best thing. It doesn't mean it's the thing I've been dreaming my whole life of creating. And of course, there's quite a lot of comments and feedback over on Patreon, some of them being critical and saying, hey, this feels derivative of XYZ, or this doesn't feel all that special, or this doesn't feel like all that you could do with Oz. I agree. I understand. At the same time, we have to be very cautious with how much time we're going to put into this, because we do have work to get done on Asylum, and I just want everybody to know that Oz is something that's going to be a pitch document on the table, but we're not going to the full extent of a full design Bible, all that kind of stuff. No. My goal right now really is to get Asylum picked up. And actually, I had a meeting yesterday where I found out that there's a Chinese publisher who is funding AAA games and who are very interested in funding a game from me, and they seem to be quite interested in Alice. So there is a very strong reason why we need to get all the Alice stuff done, get a design Bible in good shape, so we can go out and talk to places like that. And again, just having the Oz stuff on the table shows that we have enough breadth of design capability and enough artists and stuff to produce more than just one thing. And that is important when you go to talk to people like this.
Yeah. I was going to ask, where did this picture come from?
This is Joey.
Is it?
So this was funny because I posted this after we posted up the Dorothy images that had the person of color Dorothy. So the first one that Omri did, he says, was mixed race. The most recent one he turned in, he says, is I don't even know what the language is anymore. So anybody who's out there listening to this who wants to take offense at me using the wrong word, please don't, because I don't live in the States and I don't know what the right word is anymore.
We don't get the memos that says what we can say.
As I understand it, she's simply a black girl. So I think it's okay to say she's black. I don't even know anymore. But this is the most recent variation on a main character for the game that Omri has turned in. And now of her, he has said she is black. Now, if that's the wrong word, I'm sorry. I'm really confused anymore. I guess I could just use Chinese, because in Chinese, they just say she's Heipiren, which means black-skinned person. So maybe because that's using someone else's language, I can't get in trouble for just using what I know to say in Chinese. So this is just a Jinda Heipiren version of the main character for Oz. Now, the fact that we've been doing variations has caused a lot of confusion, because we posted up the person of color variations on Dorothy, and then I posted this to Instagram, and actually I got a couple of people being a little salty.
Oh my god, you got rid of the black Dorothy. That one was better. Was that the gist of it?
That is correct.
Right.
So some people were like, oh no, how dare you? You've destroyed my dreams. Everything that I've ever lived for and dreamt of was contained in the character art that you presented for that concept of a game you may never make. How dare you? Or I'm disappointed. My favorite is I'm disappointed.
Disappointed.
Like,
sorry.
People, please. We're just brainstorming.
At the end of the day, that's it. Nothing was ever set in stone. Nothing was ever said, this is it. It was all just, hey, we're brainstorming. We're doing concept art. Look at this cool stuff.
Correct. Also, these are different artists on our team. And the artist who produced this piece of art is in Israel. The artist who produced this piece of art is in China. They were producing separately just based on their own brainstorming and kind of sketching and having fun. And there's no memos going around within the inside of our team to say you have to go this way or you have to go that way because we are brainstorming. So the purpose of brainstorming is to allow the artists and myself as a writer and everyone else in the team the freedom to mess around. I don't know why this lion has a snake as a tail. Who? What? So the fact that the lion has a snake as a tail is all you need to know about the zone we're in right now. Right? Do you think that snake does snake jazz? Like you'd know the lion is coming because you'd hear it
from the distance.
You'd know that lion was around the corner.
But I mean, although this is a good image in terms of quality, I don't know if it's doing anything for me.
That doesn't do it for me either.
This is not classic Joey for me.
No, but she gets paintbrush sets and she just likes to mess around with them.
Yeah,
so you have to be careful. Sometimes Joey's work is just her noodling around with new Photoshop paintbrush sets or her just wanting to try a different style.
Oh,
so
good comment here from Alice, Queen of Madness. This Dorothy's wearing ruby slippers.
Which are copyrighted.
It's a big no-no.
Yeah, I know. And there's a Lulu in there for a Toto. So that's also illegal. So anyway, this is all brainstorming. Who knows? But this is what Omri just turned in like a day or two ago. And he had written up some comments for why he decided to go in this direction. Now, I like this character a lot. I just like her from a character design perspective. I'd like to play her as a character in a game. I'm curious to know more about her, but I've found already that as we try to have conversations around designing a game and a character and a story in which this person could portray I've said many times now, I'm using Dorothy as a shorthand for the main character of the game. It does not mean she's the Dorothy Gale of the books, the original character. And yes, I understand that there have been many reinterpretations and reinventions and that Dorothy can be any color she wants to be. And I agree with that. I'm totally fine. Dorothy can be any color she wants to be in the books. It doesn't bother me. But that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a new character in a new world. And of course, some people have brought up, it's problematic to have her be property of a corporation and also have black skin. When I read that, I thought, wouldn't that be exactly the story that would tell somebody why it's problematic to have human beings as property? Of course, that is one of the stories that gets retold over and over now about androids or humanoid android things. That was the story in Ex Machina, where the guy was inventing female companions and then I guess having sex with them, and they didn't like it. But they were sentient and they didn't want to be kept in a cage. And they murdered him, and then they locked.
Take that, Poe Dameron.
They marked, and then they locked General.
Yeah, they locked Hux in the glass box.
Into the glass box, and so he can starve to death in there, or I guess drink whiskey until he dies. Anyway, that story has been told a lot. A lot of people have talked about how that story has been told a million times. I agree, that story has been told a million times. Maybe we don't need to tell the story again. Again, we're just brainstorming, but we're also going to put together some sort of a temporary, presentation concept document to show that there's some depth to the creative talent that resides within our studio.
Yeah. Lots of people, I think, as we already knew, liking this version rather than Joey's version. It's nothing surprising there. They like the green dress. I like that green dress. I can imagine it looking almost like subtly shimmering. Not just like green material, but almost a kind of half metallic. I think it would look ace.
I think so too. So, when I got this from Omri this morning, it's funny. I saw this and I thought, I don't even know what is going on with this, what's the story of it, anything like that. But it's funny for me when I think about creating a world, if I see something like this as a character, creature, this to me feels like a very strong anchor point for building a world, if that makes sense. Because when I see this, it starts to ask a lot of questions around what type of world, what type of Oz would exist where you'd get a sort of flying monkey crossed with Toto, the Yorkie, right? So I like this a lot. And again, this is one of the reasons for having a time and a place of free, untethered, uninhibited brainstorming, because you end up with little concepts that turn out to be very foundational, very interesting pieces for suggesting what a larger world might be. So this has got my gears spinning in all other kinds of interesting directions, that is away from sort of Android world and more towards something of a magical world. And that was one of the things that I said when Omri turned in some of his original artwork for Oz itself, was that it just wasn't doing it for me, and it just felt too modern. You know, he's stated in some of our internal comments, he's said he's trying to go for kind of a 70s Logan's Run, you know, sci-fi vibe, but that's not really what I want to see of Oz. I would actually rather see Oz kind of rip off of a Harry Potter or a Lord of the Rings type of vibe. So there's a bit of internal push and pull around what to make Oz look like right now.
Right. People loving Flying Toto. Yeah, didn't see any negative comments about that.
Yeah.
Emo Nerd Queen asks, would Oz be horror like Alice or a different angle? Either way, hyped.
Yeah, I don't know yet. It's the brainstorming phase, and I don't know exactly what it would be just yet. It's kind of still in a form where we're mentally exploring it, as you would a blank canvas or a blank kind of Minecraft area, right? You know, it's sort of pushing and pulling on little pieces until things start to snap into place. And this is a good example of something Omri turned in that did not snap into place for me at all. But then when he's turned in, you know, the black flying Toto, like that immediately snaps into place.
Yep.
And then I think, though, what kind of world would that exist in? I don't think it would exist side by side in that dystopian future Logan's Run place. This looks totally out of place next to that piece of concept art, right?
It does. Yeah, maybe if the wings were robotic.
Well, I mean, that kind of avoids the point. The point is, this thing as it is fantastic. This feels to me like a creature you'd find in a Harry Potter type of universe or in a Lord of the Rings type of universe.
Yep.
You know, a place of magic, a place of crossover between creatures we know and ones that are a little bit fantastical. So I want to pursue that. I think that in the next variation that we do, we're gonna probably go more in the direction of fantastical, magical, you know, instead of the technological theme park stuff. So do expect that there will be one more variation on theme done, and I think we might use this little black Yorkie Toto as a stepping off point for what that world could be.
I think most people would be on board with that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's more interesting for me. And in a world like that, I think, you know, where the focus is more on magic and less on technology, that could be quite interesting.
Chris Dart. This Toto is a Mr. Steal Yo Girl. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what else have we got going on in the art folder here? Let's just do a little quick kind of stepping through. That was more of Alice's animation, jumping around. Norm's illustrations. These are very low res.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
I don't know. I grabbed them from Monday. I think I probably downloaded the wrong size one. This is Lucky's birthday party invite.
Woo!
So he was born in the year of the pig. That was last year, 2019. And September 2nd is his 1-year birthday. So
wow.
You can see there he's giving away a mysterious box.
Am I coming to the party? Is it going to be like drinks and...
Nope.
What?
You don't want to be surrounded by... I think there's like 8 babies coming.
Oh my god.
I don't think you like the idea of being at a baby's party, so...
Probably not.
There are going to be no single girls there, Martin.
Girl, I'm not coming then.
No. Yeah, this was one of the early Dorothys. This was some of Ian's marketing art. This was the banana stuff, like Ian giving some feedback on that. Now, yeah, this is Plushie Dreadful stuff. Then we got some different variations on what these bags may look like. Very good. Marketing images. Plushes.
Lots.
Yeah. Now, I put this image in here because I thought maybe we might talk about that spoiler thing at the end of the stream. So maybe we'll come back to that in a minute.
All right.
We'll wait until the end of the stream, and then we're going to go talk about that because it'll be the end of the stream, and I can say, all right, spoiler time, turn it off if you don't want to hear it. Because I do want to kind of try to talk through that live because it'll be more interesting for me.
What was the pandapede with the bamboo thing for?
Well, because we're making a pandapede Plushie Dreadful.
Mm-hmm.
And the pandapede thing was, damn it. Oh, there it is. That's going to be the piece of art on the bag.
All right.
Yeah, so he's like a pirate bamboo pandapede with a zombie stitched skull. I don't know what that panda's doing. Is he smoking bamboo?
Maybe.
Not sure. Yeah, so there you go. That's it.
Well, the art folder is done.
It is.
Who'd have thunk it?
I think it's time for one more prize, and then we can go to full-on spoiler talk for a minute. What do you think?
Go on, then.
You've got a question?
Maybe, but it requires us being on camera.
Okay, there you go.
The question is this.
Ooh.
What pattern is on your skull?
I don't understand the question.
On your skull.
What pattern?
What pattern is on your skull in a weird abstract kind of way? What would you like it to be?
Oh, if your skull had a pattern, what would it be? Is that the question?
Yeah.
You know, for an Englishman, your English is terrible. All right. So the question is, if you're going to win one of these here Vorpal Umbrellas, dare we open it? It seems to be that when I open it, it kills the internet.
Go on, let's put that to the test.
All right, here we go.
Oh my god, it's dying!
So, Vorpal Umbrella, if you want this, you need to answer the question, and then Nightbot will shine upon you. The question is, if you had a pattern on your skull, what pattern would it be?
Lots of people want flowers on their skull. This is very floral, isn't it?
That is very floral.
Yeah.
Yes, apparently that's called an Aztec Doom skull or something like that.
This one, is that an Aztec pattern?
I have no idea. Yen finds this stuff. Don't ask me. I think that's actually for sale over in the Mysterious Shop, isn't it?
It is. If I put it about there.
Yeah, you put it in the shop under the skulls stuff, which is rapidly growing.
So it is. The question is part of a shameless plug to the rapidly growing skull section on Mysterious.
Yeah, there it is. Skull. It's pretty cool. It's a lot bigger than I had expected. Huge.
It is.
Yeah. Anyway, so what have you got for answers?
Probably the jankiest question yet.
It is a terrible question.
I'm sure I've done worse.
That's a really bad question. I suppose if I had to have something carved on my skull...
Would it be chaos symbols?
I was going to say, I would put like runic weirdness on my skull, you know, chaos symbols or alchemy symbols or something like that.
A QR code to a Rickroll.
That's a good one. I like that. So that like ancient future civilizations will find that and then they'll scan it and they'll get Rickrolled like
Never
500 years.
Give you
Oh, boy.
water droplets. Arcane circles. Whatever they are.
Arcane circles.
I guess they are.
I don't know. Okay. Anyway, we're going to roll it. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Jay's Black 62 has won the giveaway. That means you're going to win a Vorpal, or you have won a Vorpal Umbrella. You need to do the things, which is to send an email to support@mysterious.design. Include your name, your phone number, your mailing address, and the fact that you've won one of these umbrellas. Do all that in a human-readable format that does not cause frustration, anger, murderous rage, and do that within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yay. He says, Jay's Black 62 says, seriously?
Nope, it's a joke.
No, it was a joke, man. You're not getting anything. All right. That does bring us to the end of pretty much all the stuff that we had lined up.
So now, are you going to say spoilers?
Yes.
And do the spoilers.
I am. Well, actually, you've got all these questions we need to read through. So what?
But they all came from, like, they're all really big.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll scooch through some.
Well, just so you know where we're at, there was a post which I labeled spoilers, called "Raising the Stakes," and yeah, so this contains one of the big issues that we're currently talking about. So if you don't want spoilers, don't look at this stuff and don't listen to this, because there is a big giant spoiler in here. Now, are we going to start talking about that, or are you going to read those questions or those comments?
Can I have a look at some of the comments?
I think you should just be aware, if you're watching right now, there's a very big chance there may be some spoilers ahead. Be careful.
Oh, well, let's start out with this one, where this is Lucky Dragon here. A little discussion you had with him about Alice, black or white. And it raised up the comment, about like whitewashing in Hollywood and when can you and can't you change. And you made the very good response that sometimes a character's color is baked in to their surrounding, their universe. So, I mean, you literally couldn't change, like, Black Panther to a white guy.
Right.
Wouldn't make sense, the white guy being like the heir to the ruler of Wakanda or something. It just wouldn't work. But with this Dorothy, this isn't that Dorothy. Her color of skin is not baked in to who she is. So this is fair game.
Well, but Lucky Dragon, to be fair, Lucky Dragon's response to my question about whether or not you'd change the skin color of a Blade or a Black Panther was that the characters' stories have integral links to skin color, and he made the suggestion that perhaps the Dorothy of the books doesn't have anything about her that necessarily requires her to be one skin color or another. Now, on a point like that, it's a point taken, and and it's, look, this is all kind of getting into like philosophical debate territory, which I'm not a big fan of. But you can say that, and that's fine. I still, as I said in the original post, believe that a lot of people will have different feelings or responses to things like this, and I believe people are entitled to those feelings. There may be people out there who have a very deep cultural connection to a character presented in a certain way, and who may find it jarring to see that character presented in another way. Look, in the US, we do this really weird thing where you've got Jesus presented as a white dude, where probably the original Jesus was a sandy place. What am I trying to say? Like a Middle Eastern
sandy place,
a desert. He was a desert dwelling, nomadic kind of, and you can imagine he was probably quite dark skinned. But the thing that we present, I mean, I've seen churches where they present him as a purely white skinned, blue eyed, golden, locks flowing type of thing. It's what people want to see. It's what they feel comfortable with. And if you were to go in there and to give them a different variation on some of these characters, they'll feel uncomfortable and they'll write comments about it. And that was all I was saying, was we didn't get racist, horrible, angry comments. I got a few people who said, this makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm not going to fight with them about that, because I think people are entitled to those kind of reactions. I don't think that it's coming from a place of malice. None of the comments were malice. And I don't think any of the comments were, they weren't even being really strong about it. They were just saying like, hey, this makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Maybe it doesn't have to be that way, but their comments were specific to whether or not the character of the book was being revised. And that's, I can kind of respect that. That's fine. Anyway, we're not doing that. We're not revising the character of the books. We're creating a new character. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah. A couple of people started worrying about the stream, but I'm seeing no evidence of shenanigans.
Right.
So let's move on. Wendy J. Loving Dorothy, though I still don't know how I feel about the previous pitch. Am I Alice now? As far as the Alice film TV thing, I'm afraid of it being ruined, like every single live-action adaptation has done, if you won't be a part of that process. Talked about that a little earlier, that sometimes necessity you will lose some control.
I'm pretty sure that somewhere tattooed on Wendy's skull is "I hate Netflix," and I'm not sure what Netflix did to her as a child, or maybe kicked her dog, but she's not a big fan of Netflix. I know that, and it's one of the reasons, actually, Wendy specifically, much like some of my comments that I write in our posts are specifically for Priscilla, or sometimes specifically for Wendy, because I understand who our insane children are, and I know they have their certain likes and dislikes. So I oftentimes will insert caveats into posts to try to head those things off. Again, that's partly why I talked at length at the start of this stream about not having that much control over where we get this set up, and maybe we won't even have that much control creatively, but we just try to do what we can, because maybe we get something set up that's a TV series that we have to be a little hands-off with, but it means that we get to go and make a game that we get to be very hands-on with.
All right. Twisted Fantasy worries about the TV pitch a little bit, because apparently people may see it as a remake of the Once Upon a Time series that did an Alice side story.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I know that Once Upon a Time had a bit of a side quest into the Alice realm, and look, there was just news that came out yesterday or today that Disney has purchased or commissioned, or somehow there's an author who wrote a book. It's called Dreamtime, Bedtime, Birthday. It's called Unbirthday. So go look that up. I can't, because it's a variation on an Alice story, and I don't want to be polluted in my brain about whatever it's about. But someone wrote a book called Unbirthday, and then Disney has picked it up, and they're going to turn it into the new Alice film. Yeah. And it has, I think the premise is something like an adult Alice returns to a broken Wonderland. So, look, it's getting done all the time, right? I mean, there are variations on the Alice stories that happen quite often. Nothing we can do about that.
Right. What's this? Varar LLC. Love the non-Dorothy. I was hoping she would be the Dorothy, and they're the version of the Wizard of Oz movie with a black Dorothy. Either way, love your work and ideas. Thoroughly enjoyed the pitch attachment. That was worded kind of weirdly, but thank you for the chat, Varar LLC.
Someone in the chat said, if they asked me to write for the show, would you? That was J3. I don't know the answer to that question, because I'm not a television writer, and I don't know if I have what it takes to make that a thing that I can do. But I would certainly imagine that I could be a consultant for the story. And so, yeah, I would hope that they would invite me to be a story consultant, co-creator, something like that. As far as writing television scenes and the dialogue and things like that, I don't believe I have that as a skill set that would be appropriate for something like an HBO or a Netflix, but I don't know, I could be wrong. I have been paired up with writers in the past on projects, so if it's a kind of collaborative thing, then perhaps yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just a quick one here from Savo, I guess the one that won. Just saying things look great. The action panels look great too. Thank you very much. J. Campos. I found changing Dorothy's race immediately refreshing, but agree that you would then need to be a lot more sensitive to what you do with the character and the story created around her, especially if she's a bot. That's not a reason to shy away from the changes, but it does require more work, education, and feedback, especially from people of color.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's interesting how perilous the subject is, and that you can kind of go into it in a naive fashion, thinking that by having a character of a certain skin color, you might be being more inclusive, which I hear is the goal. But then you find that once you've decided to be more inclusive, there are actually a lot of people who get upset about you being inclusive in the wrong way. So I as a creator do wish that this wasn't such a thorny topic. I also find it really interesting that the thorniness of it seems to come almost exclusively from certain adaptations. For example, if we were to put a Chinese character into a movie, I don't think there'd be the same kind of, or put a Chinese character into a game or a story, I don't think there'd be the same sort of pressures involved. You know what I mean? As long as you weren't doing something that was blatantly racist or insensitive, but as long as you were doing something that was considered to be just like a normal adaptation of a character into a script or a game. It's funny, we've talked about this before. Just as a writer, one of your expectations is that you should be able to, if you were limited only to the things that you've ever experienced or the type of life that you've lived or the color of your own skin, you'd be very limited in terms of the types of things that you could create. I write a story about a young Victorian girl, but I've never lived life as a young Victorian girl. I've not received any real pushback on the things I've written about a young Victorian girl, but even in just presenting a few bits of concept artwork around a person of color, Dorothy, I have already received more feedback on the topic than I have ever received in 20 years of being the creator of Alice and writing about a young Victorian girl as Alice when I'm not a young Victorian girl. So it's it's
weird, isn't it? We said this last time, like, how do you write dialogue for like a robot, like Star Wars or something?
Right.
It's weird.
It is a little unusual.
Sarah Brown says, I don't know what people are so upset about. Hasn't the Dorothy already been reimagined as black multiple times? And someone in the chat brings up The Wiz.
Of course.
Again, it's been done.
That's totally fine. Yeah.
This is... we kind of touched on this one earlier. Someone asking about working on Oz on Patreon. Did we talk about this earlier, this dude?
Yes, so I think that's a good one to read out, just to kind of make clear what's going on there.
So Alan Robin asks, says, is the work on the Oz stuff being paid for by our Patreon? If so, I'm not sure. I'm comfortable with that. My money is being donated towards the next Alice series, and I wouldn't want that diluted.
Yeah, so I actually, after I saw that comment, I just went to look at the front page of our Patreon to make sure that it says what I think it says, because I'm pretty sure that the front page of the Patreon does not say that our Patreon is exclusively about Alice Asylum. In fact, I think a lot of people who have followed along for a while, they know that we talk about things like, say, example, Pirate Jam gets talked about there, and it is actually mentioned in the spiel about what our Patreon is and about and things like that. So I'm just trying to find on Patreon where it is. Anyway, I did go and I looked and I found it. Huh?
View your public page, and it should be at the very top of that.
There it is. So yeah, I did go and I looked, and it does say, this Patreon is for the various projects of American McGee. It doesn't say anything about this being exclusively about Alice Asylum. Now, that being said, I think this is it. So if you look at the top here, it says Patreon is a one-stop destination for Alice Asylum and other projects too, such as Pirate Jam and Mysterious. And I have to fix that, because I know at one point we were talking about doing a FPS type shoot 'em up thing with Jen. But anyway, I think, it's fair to say Alice is the primary focus of what we're doing, and it is the primary focus of the effort of the artists that are working for you. I mean, honestly, the patrons fund the salaries of our group of artists. So all I do is redirect the funding to them. And I've said before, the money we collect on Patreon just barely covers the money required to pay everyone and to do things like sending out all the art prints. If you subtract out salaries, the cost of art prints, and the costs of shipping, there's a number left at the end of the month that's usually like $100. So it's not, we're not making a ton of money off of Patreon as like a profit generator. So it is the patrons who pay for our artists, and the artists are primarily working on Alice art, as you can see. But you know, we do occasionally dip our toe into doing a couple of other things here and there, and I've explained why it's important that we do like an Oz pitch, just to kind of spread out what it is we're showing to potential investors. So yes,
there we go.
Yeah.
This is from the Lost Ozland posts. Justin Cole, Westworld meets Wizard of Oz. I like it. So they like concept number 1.
Right.
Concept number 2 incoming. Therese wants to play already. Kind of upset it doesn't already exist. Yeah. Takes a while to make these things. Evibbles loves the idea of the Lost Ozland. Twisted Tales are always amazing, and the design for Dorothy is so cute. Oh, this is something we should mention. A couple of people saying that their Patreon comments disappeared. I know you replied to this. Yeah, we never, ever delete Patreon comments.
Well, Lucky Dragon, who's in the chat here, I think figured out what it was. He had posted a comment, and then he went back to edit the comment, and if you edit a comment, it seems that there's a high chance that Patreon will eat it on the reposting. So as he said in his response to the query about whether or not we had deleted his comment, I think he figured out that it's because he went back to change something and then it didn't save or something like that. So yeah.
Patreon's broken.
Well, Patreon is very broken.
It is. Rachel Garza, really interesting ideas and story building so far. Looking forward to more info as this goes. Would love to see this get fully developed into a game. So would we. Amor Senna, also very positive here. I want to play it right now. The concept of how magic is affecting the infected/victims is freaking brilliant. Day 1, once it hits Steam. All right. What else we got here? Jana North. I like how the concept sounds. However, my first thought was Ready Player One. As, you know, people explore Ozland inside androids through VR.
Yeah, I
guess kind of right. It does have that kind of vibes to it. It does sound a little too much like a zombie game with courage and heart enemies as well. So, not as much as Ozombie, I guess. Lady Fizzy also says, I think courage and heart enemies sound the same to me. Bloodlust and eating people doesn't differ that drastically from a gaming standpoint.
Well, for everybody who's got comments on the current Oz variation, just keep in mind there is another variation coming along relatively soon. So I'm going to try to answer or address some of those concerns in the new variation.
Right. Alexis Ortiz seems to have got a little confused. They're asking where Alice is in all of this Oz stuff. They think it might be a crossover.
Yeah, I've seen this on a few occasions where people are saying, how does Alice end up in Oz? I think what happens is, though we repeat the message quite often about the fact that these are two separate things, or that why we're doing the separate thing, whatever, people don't hear the message and then they see some Oz thing for the first time and they get confused and they think that the two go together or the two are related, all that kind of stuff, and they're not. So we'll just keep repeating that until people figure it out.
And yeah, most of the other comments, that people wrote a ton on these recent posts.
Right.
Everything is like a big chunk. So it's very difficult to extract these simple comments from, but I did my best.
All right, cool. All right, well, we are going to kind of head towards wrapping it up here. I'm going to talk really quickly about the sticky spoiler thing. So if you want to avoid this major spoiler that we've been discussing, I recommend you poke out your ears now. We will still do one more prize giveaway at the very end, so I don't know what to tell you. If you want to stick around for the prize, but you don't want to hear the spoilers, maybe when you next see us open the umbrella, you'll know that you can turn your audio back on.
Or when we dab.
Please don't do that. All right, so spoilers, major spoilers in 3, 2, 1. There we go. So, I saw that one of the comments that came up quite frequently in response to the game opening variation that I discussed was that to deal with suicide, because that was the topic, and specifically to deal with Alice committing suicide felt wrong, out of character, unnecessary. And one of the things, there's a couple things I wanted to point out on just the topic of dealing with this, but first is this wouldn't be the first time that we've seen or heard or known of Alice attempting suicide. For those of you who played the first game and read the casebook, and you take a look at these pictures, you'll note that in the opening to the first game, and also mentioned in the casebook of the Dr. Wilson, was mention of her attempting suicide by cutting her wrists. So there is precedent for Alice as a character struggling with the notion of suicide. And so I want to make it clear to people that, you know, from the history of the character and of the game, it's not out of character for her to struggle with this. And in fact, we have record of her having attempted this in the first game. That's point number one. Point number two is that as a vehicle for discussing problematic, is that really the right word? Traumatic. So as a vehicle for discussing traumatic, painful encounters with chaos and the way in which we deal with those things, as a vehicle for examining really difficult topics. I mean, remember, the Alice series examines the issues involving the murder of one's family, psychological, physical, and sexual abuse of children, madness, sanity, all kinds of horrible things are wrapped up in these stories. You have characters she encounters that are prostitutes and lawyers. Lawyers are terrible. I can't even believe we put lawyers in the story. We have twisted psychology. We've got Victorian quote unquote medicine. We've got insane asylums. There's a lot of really difficult topics that are contained within the Alice stories. The fact that we would shy away from suddenly a topic like suicide, to me, feels like it kind of ignores that one of the primary motivators of the exploration mechanic of the games is to go towards these uncomfortable subjects and to deal with them and explore them. And look, as a creator, two reasons why I like to explore these topics, these difficult topics. One, it's cathartic for me as a creator to go towards the things that have caused me pain and distress in the past. And two, I know that my efforts and the catharsis that comes forward for me as a creator, and that I put honest and transparent and meaningful creation into place by making these games and telling these stories, I know that stuff helps people. Because I've had a million fans from around the world write to me and say, I was struggling with childhood sexual abuse or psychological abuse. I was struggling with mental health issues. I was struggling with depression. I've had multiple people write to me and say I was struggling with suicide or suicidal thoughts. These games helped me. Why do they help? They help because they present an unvarnished and very direct look into the problems. They don't paint some beautiful picture on top of it. I mean, yes, they're surreal, they're visually captivating, but the messages, the content underneath all of it, there's something very real there. And I think people get that there's something real. So when I was reading the comments of people saying, well, you got to be really careful about how you deal with this, or maybe you shouldn't deal with this topic of suicide at all, I would hope that people I've earned people's trust in the way we've handled these topics in the past. I don't think I've been crass about it. I don't think I've been exploitive about it. If you look at the games in general, we I think have handled all these difficult topics in a quite a mature and sensitive fashion, and I would intend to do the same thing with this new twist that we've talked about. So that's my kind of big rant on that. Now, as far as how the twist ends up, for those of you who are a bit confused right now, I proposed that at the beginning of Alice Asylum, now this is a big spoiler, I proposed that at the very beginning of Alice Asylum, now it could be the game, it could be the TV show, we would see adult Alice having completed all of her missions and tied up all of her loose ends, finding herself lonely, depressed, and without meaning in her life, and without love of herself, without family, without friends, deciding that it's time to end it, that she's been through enough and she's settled all of her affairs and she's resolved the mystery and the trauma of what happened to her family and to herself. And so in the scene that I wrote, originally I think we had contemplated that she might cut her wrists, but we then revised that to be that she would put more coal on the fire and she would essentially suffocate herself with the carbon monoxide poisoning from the coal in her room. However it is that we end up having her do this, that action of attempted suicide becomes the gateway into the start of the story for Asylum, and it gives the inner child the bridge that she can begin to cross towards saving the adult self. That's all, obviously metaphorical. I mean, the idea that your inner child can reach up through the psyche and to touch and affect and help the adult self is within itself the notion of self-love, which so many people lack, and that is ultimately the cure for the desire to commit suicide, because there's nothing else out there, not other people, not drugs, not video games, not porn, not your work, not money, nothing except love for yourself, which has to come from the inside, that can ultimately resolve the feelings of suicide that you have. And when I talk about this, I talk about it from personal experience, deep, traumatic personal experience. I know that all the other distractions, all the other things you can do will not solve this problem. And that's why I think that for this particular story, the idea that she reaches up from within herself to save herself from this ultimate finale is something that really works. Now, I still want to work through this. I want to work through this with the insane children. I want to hear your ideas and your feedback. And I do promise I'm going to go through and read everybody's comments and notes, and I'm going to rewrite or recraft that intro and try to take into account a lot of the things that are being said. And then we'll have another variation on this, which maybe can live as the final variation for how the game opens. So that's it. That's a big rant, but I wanted to get that out there. There was a couple of major thoughts in there I wanted to get out, and then I want to hear feedback in the chat here. We could do before we call it a day.
Yeah.
What did scroll by there that I'm sure I missed?
I saw somebody say, as long as it's integral to the story and it's like handled well, it's fine. But if it's just in there for shock value, then this is kind of insulting and nonsense. Which is a fair point, and it wouldn't be done like that.
Well, no, I mean we said that from the beginning. We didn't want it to be in there for shock value. It's not being used as a gimmick. It's not a joke. So I don't think that we're going to go that route, obviously. And that was the point where I'm a little surprised that people would hear me suggest that we want to do this and then say, well, don't do it for shock value. I mean, we don't generally do things for shock value around serious issues like this in these games.
Yeah. There it is. Jand J3 said it.
Right.
What else? Savo liked the letter opener idea. Did we say last time that it has to be something you can come back from?
Yeah.
Doing something really final doesn't really fit.
Well, this is the part where I was thinking about sort of her at the desk. She's got the letter opener. You know, is it possible to hint at the contemplation of suicide strongly enough visually that you can start a game on it without blood flowing? I mean, by the way, this is a creative noodling question. This isn't a how best to commit suicide question. It's not a, you know, let's explore the gore possibilities of this scene. No. My question is one of visual storytelling, the mechanical fashion in which, you know, you see a person enact something, whether it be the stoking of the flames on the fire or the cutting of the wrists, but you have to show the action, and then you have to show the result is that she passes out, she faints, or she succumbs to the poison or whatever it is that then takes her down the rabbit hole into the adventure, which resolves this problem. But yeah, she has to come back from it. So if she sort of threw herself off of a building, I don't know she's going to come back from the fall.
Yes.
If she tied heavy weights to herself and threw herself into a freezing ocean, I don't think she's going to come back from that. So, you know, this is something to think about. I mean, the knife is nice because it's symbolic. It links to the Vorpal blade, but it's not necessarily the best way to have her do this. Now,
is that from Nerd Queen?
So that's a correct statement. The Emo Nerd Queen says a lot of mental health studies and media say not to directly show suicide because it can negatively affect people's mental health. But I think that's only if it succeeds, ? Still, I like this idea, and I trust you'll handle this with the care needed. This is a really important topic, and this is one that I need to research because as I understand those studies, you will find that the discussion of suicide in media, whether it be in newspapers or television, has been correlated with a dramatic or notable increase in real-world suicide rates following. And that's got so bad in some instances where, like, one student will commit suicide in a high school somewhere. There will then be a rash of suicides around that city and the high schools because, especially for teenagers, they can be very easily influenced emotionally by the actions of their peers. And if they see that one of their peers has committed suicide and they're having a tough time with something in life, they will think, hey, that is for me also, and then they will go and commit suicide. So I'm aware of that issue, and I think that something needs to be done in what we're discussing here to try to figure out how to avoid that, because obviously the last thing I want is for someone to fire up one of my games, to see a scene like that and decide, right, 5 stars, and I'm off to end it. You know, I mean, that's not where we want to end up. And so I'm not sure. This could end up, you know, after enough exploration and consultation with me coming to the realization that this just won't work. Because if I get enough experts on this saying to me, there's no way to represent this where you don't end up having an effect on people that's negative, then maybe we shouldn't represent it. But, you know, this also raises for me some really interesting questions. For instance, if the notion of suicide is so influential, is not the notion of promiscuity or of violence in general going to be also equally, you know, something that people should be worried about? I mean, does this not also suggest that we are so suggestive or suggestible that we should be dialing back all the violence and you know, sexual content in media in general? And that's a really big, sticky question.
It is. What makes one thing acceptable and another not? I mean, violence is frequently glorified. We like it. I mean, the new Batman trailer, where he, like, knocks the living crap out of that guy. And even when he's down, he pummels in some more. You don't think, oh, reprehensible. You think, wow, that was a cool scene.
Yeah, so this is, it's a tough topic. I don't, you know, obviously we're not going to solve all this here today, but again, I do want people to know I am aware of the comment and the contents of the comment with regards to the nature of influence with, you know, with and around suicide, and that we need to be very careful about that. It actually got me thinking, can you think of movies in which suicide plays a role for a character? Are there characters who intentionally, decide to end themselves? It's not very common. I guess it's a good question for the chat.
The brother in Little Miss Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yeah, so Groundhog Day gets mentioned here because he gets so fed up with the repeating cycle of being stuck in Groundhog Day that he decides to, and he doesn't just do it once, he commits suicide multiple ways, multiple times. So does a funny suicide not affect people the same way? Doesn't Deadpool...
Well, it's not a suicide because he knows he's coming back.
Well, and so you also have like Deadpool, for an example. He and characters like him, that thing we just watched, The Old Guard, they had some intentional suicides in that film, but they knew they were going to come back. So I think, there are definitely examples of it. There's ways in which, if you know that it happens where the character is going to come back, and that was something that I think was mentioned by several people, and especially Lucky Dragon said, I don't want to be responsible for her death if I don't successfully complete the missions. Well, yeah, but that's kind of like saying, you'd start up a game, you'd watch her commit suicide, the intention to commit suicide, and then you'd just put the controller down and walk away and be like, haha, you'll never recover from
Take
that.
Take that, Alice.
Take that. Because obviously in the story that we're trying to tell here, if you play the game to its resolution, you will save her, right? Maybe.
Right. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Somebody says God of War's opening, the game opens with the protagonist killing himself. Is that right?
Well, not the reboot. Must be one of the older.
I don't remember that from the first one.
Huh. The oldie PS2 God of Wars, because it's definitely not the latest one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other one I was thinking about is Fight Club. So in Fight Club, and I thought Fight Club was an interesting one because, the main character, the Edward Norton character, has this Brad Pitt sort of imaginary character living inside of him, which you could say is his id, right? It's the impish, naughty side to him. And at some point in that movie, he shoots himself in the head, right? But throughout the film, the inner character is thrusting the outer character into all these crazy, dangerous, unbelievable actions, which later on in the film you realize were always just Edward Norton and were never the Brad Pitt character. So that's another one in which the notion of suicide, especially having to deal with kind of a split personality, is raised, and where he does actually go through with but survive the attempt at shooting himself, right, committing suicide. So I think that there are examples out there. We'll have a look at some of those, and we'll try to figure out which ones kind of might lead us in the right direction here.
All right.
And I'll put up another post about this, and then all of you will have a chance to comment and review and feedback and things like that. So, yeah.
That's spoilers over.
I think so. I'm just reading through the comments really quickly. Wolf Moon Witch says, what if she reenacts the... Damn it, scroll. Reenacts the attempt of her doing it in her Wonderland, so it's distorted and then wakes up in the asylum. I'm not quite sure I understand that, but that's okay. I'll reread that later and try to figure out how that would work. Please ignore the route that The Last of Us took on its stance towards violence.
Kind of violent.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, we'll go through some of these comments, and I will go through the comments over on Patreon, and we'll see if we can't come up with a elegant solution for some of the concerns that are presented here.
Sounds good.
Is that it? Are spoilers finished?
Spoilers finished.
Open the umbrella.
Dab.
Gonna dab. That's it. I think we're gonna...
Spoilers done.
All right, we're gonna ask a last and final question to give away this here Vorpal Umbrella. What's the question?
I asked the last ones. You do one today.
Okay. My question is gonna be, when do you think the world is gonna get better. I'd like to know very much when you think we might be able to start being calm again and traveling again. And I'm not the only one who just thinks it's utterly insane that you can't even fly around the world anymore.
No, it's quite bonkers.
I mean, is all of this just a function of the politics and the election in the U.S.? Is it even real? I sometimes don't know if I believe that, but I am curious to know. So people are saying, honestly, don't even know. Ione says 2021. Savo says 2042. I think I'll be dead by then.
2069.
Nice. Never
Nice.
think about it. These ends time. Will it ever get better? Praying for 2021. Yeah, Wolf Moon Witch says probably after the election. Was it even good in the first place, says Silver Jinxed. That's pretty cynical.
Sure, it was better.
I mean, I just find it unusual that we've all now accepted the fact that we live in a world which very much mirrors what it was like before there were airplanes. Because
Huh? Gone Bad Agnes says there's been a prediction that something worse is going to happen in December.
Oh boy, that's my birthday.
Meteorite strike or alien invasion.
Yeah, I've seen the funny like t-shirts and slogans for the Doom Comet 2020 just ended already. So that, I don't know. Pretty crazy. This is going to take time. What's the question? Okay.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Probably mid next year, I reckon.
I don't know, man. All right, well, we're going to roll it. It is Crimsdart. Crimsdart. You tell Crimsdart what to do.
Okay.
I mean, keep it within the prize context stuff.
No. Send an email to support@mysterious.design with your address formatted correctly on separate lines. Name, address, telephone number. Tell us what you won. Do it within 24 hours, and we will send you a Vorpal Umbrella.
Yay.
There you go.
There you go.
Don't be emailing us in 2 months after you forgot.
There
you
you go.
won't get it.
If you've stuck around this long, thank you very much. You are much appreciated. Love you all, especially given all of the nonsense we had with the VPN today. Appreciate that. Do you need to do any of that contest stuff for people on YouTube thing? No?
Not yet.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to tell everybody all about the things. So the things you can do to help support the work we're doing here.
Do the things.
As I did mention, we are working on an Alice sequel, prequel, something. And one of the things you could do is sign up for the mailing list. Do not sign up Doom Meteor 2020 or your dead grandma because it has to be real names only. You could follow me on social media, though, as I said, I'm not using it as much personally, but we do use it for marketing. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. That at least will give you some indication on updates for the things that we're doing. You can follow along over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You can get early access to all the design and narrative and crazy stuff that we're doing, art, you name it. So yeah, go sign up over there. That does directly support the salaries for the artists that are doing all of the great work that you see here. That is how they get paid, and then they get paid, they can buy food, and they can eat, starve.
Sounds good.
So that's what Patreon's for. And then we do have an online shop called Mysterious, and Mysterious is how I survive, and it's how Martin survives, and it's how Lucky and Yen survive. Because when you buy stuff on Mysterious, that supports me and my family, including Martin. He is to Lucky Stinky Uncle Martin. And so, yeah, you want to help support the Stinky family, then go to Mysterious. You can buy things like skulls and wallets. And actually, what if we added something? There was some sort of Doom skull thing that recently got added that made me laugh. Was it the skeleton
You
hand soap?
said Doom to the soap.
Oh, it was this. It was this one, the Skull of Doom 2020 soap or soup dispenser. So my wife is English as a second language person, and she accidentally wrote soup dispenser in her original description for what this thing is.
She accidentally wrote it about 20 times.
And it was very funny, and I was thinking, like, what the hell kind of soup would you put in a skull? Anyway, the tagline. Nothing says 2020 like a Skull of Doom soap dispenser in the shape of a freaking skull. So yeah. And if the horsemen arrive anyway, fill it with tasty tomato soup and offer them a polite snack.
Please do.
So if you want to buy a Skull of Doom soup dispenser, there you go. And that's how we buy diapers for Lucky's Diapers of Doom.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Excellent. We made it.
We did make it. That was a difficult one today.
So behaved
Yes.
eventually.
Well, thank you everyone again. We do hope wherever you are in the world that you are not being eaten by chaos, that things are slowly getting better as we make our way lurching through 2020. And we will be back again in 2 weeks.
2 weeks as usual.
More art and design and story and business development and all the great stuff. I think we will have some new Plushie Dreadfuls to show by then as well.
Might we even have more 3D Alice stuff?
And we'll have more 3D Alice stuff by then as well. So a lot of stuff on the way. We'll post that stuff over on Patreon. But yeah, back again with you here on Twitch and YouTube in about 2 weeks' time.
Jib it up.
All right, everybody.
Get
Farewell.
bent.